I'm going to present a research which is ongoing, and this is the team that is developing this research. The research was and is funded by the Digital Infrastructure Insight Fund, and I'm going to present schematic outline of where we are at this moment. First of all, the context within which we thought about this research. We understand that there is something happening in the open tech ecosystem that is about the entering of the states in an organic and strategic way within these systems and ecosystem. So we are going behind the dialectic that characterized the last 2 decades between communities and companies, this ecosystem, and we are entering what we call the tripartite era, let's say. And this is about a shift from a sporadic intervention of the public actors, which existed before, into a stage in which they are going to organically participate and strategically participate. And this is due to a cluster of reasons. Some of them depend on the evolution of the open tech paradigm, which matured, which is now an unavoidable and powerful presence in the digital innovation. And it's proved also capability that is now entered into the mindset of also the policymakers. And the second is about the change in the geopolitical and geoeconomic landscape, where we are observing an intensifying conflictual and competitive tension, and we are also observing an increasing of security and sovereignty concerns, and a resumption of the public intervention. So these 2 different drivers are now bringing us to this new stage of development of models of governance in the open technology. In this context, we proposed to make this research, which is an exploratory research. The 2 main objectives of this research are to produce a significant sampling of these cases where we are observing these first steps of this evolution in the models of governance, and then to systematize, especially the goals and the styles of public interventions that we observe in these cases. And doing that through the elaboration of some taxonomies. As you will see, we at the end decided to also focus on the evolution that is occurring in the role and the position of the communities, which is something that already emerged at this stage in our research. And also we have been adapting this idea of the tripartite model of governance, facing the fact that was quite evident since the beginning that in reality a balanced tripolar model of governance is very rare in these cases. So, but we will go to that afterward. This is the method that we applied, and the work we have been doing. In part, we are still in the middle of this. So we identified a big number of cases, and then we selected 26 cases at this stage, and we collected information, examined these cases, and we tried to understand how were the configurations of these governance systems. Then we elaborated, and the main criteria that we followed in selecting the cases was the diversity of the cases in order to then have a good sample to test the taxonomies that we wanted to elaborate and develop. Then we ended up elaborating 3 taxonomies because we did several attempts and we ended up with these 3 taxonomies. I'm going to present here a simplified version of these taxonomies. And now we are in the process of testing both the taxonomies and the attribution of the categories to each singular case through interviews to representatives or experts of the cases and to experts in general of open tech field, no? To adapt and adjust both the taxonomies and the attribution for each case. Then we plan to also make 3 more in-depth case studies and to end the research with a focus group with both representative of cases and experts. So these are the 26 cases that we selected at this stage, and they are extremely diverse, I would say, but you could even enlarge more. They are not just open source cases, they represent other typologies of open tech initiatives, and but we especially wanted to have in this sample the different typologies that intuitively we understood were present in these cases, concerning now the position and the role of these different models of governance, which are the community-based, companies-led, and governments intervention. And then we elaborated these 3 taxonomies that I was saying. The first, and this is what I was already saying, is that we understood that the existence of a tripolar balanced model is very rare, and so we subdivided, even if all these cases present these 3 typologies of stakeholders and models of governance, we decided to subdivide all these sample into a categorization based on the dominant governance pole that, or in this taxonomy, the tripolarity is a subcase, let's say, of the whole sample. And the second taxonomy, which is the core of our investigation, is about the rationales which are behind the intervention of the public actor and the role that the public actor plays in these systems. And the third is about the community position and role. So this is the legend for the first taxonomy. I present a simplified and also only on a selected group of cases because of the dimension of the screen. And you see now that we classified the cases according to 4 categories. They can be government-led, they can be community-led, they can be business-led, according to the dominant pole that we observe in the way that these systems are developed. And there are also some cases which we classified as tripolar. That doesn't mean that the 3 different components have an equal role, but they have a significant, important, and central role in the management of and development of the cases. This is the second taxonomy, which focuses on the way that why the government and how the government intervene in these systems. And we classified 3 main rationales and there are security and autonomy, industrial and developmental goals, and public interest. And then we subdivided the three categories into subcategories. The first, we distinguished when the security and the autonomy concern was driven mainly by a geopolitical conflict, or was more about maintaining and guaranteeing independence in this stage of development of the digital infrastructure. Because now we understand, even if it's not going to be so simple, but we understand that the outcome can be different depending on this difference in terms of the perspective of fragmentation of the technological development. And the industrial and developmental goals are subdivided in three different categories, which more or less are designed in order to capture the different stage of development of the technology and of the economic ecosystem that is built around the technology. And the last category, public interest, is subdivided in two main. Here we collect, if you like, all the other rationals, and they are subdivided in two categories that are social provision, when you exploit open tech in order to provide basic services, basic needs, social needs. And the second is if you utilize open tech in order to improve citizens' rights, transparency, and democratic participation. And then we classified the roles, the different roles that the government can play in these systems through 5 possibilities: catalyst, funder, driver, regulator. 4. 4, sorry. No. Sorry. Okay. No. How is it? Doesn't go back. Okay. Okay, this is the presentation of this taxonomy that I was talking about. And the last taxonomy is about the community position, because one of the trends that is clearly recognizable in what is happening is something that we already observed in the most recent evolution of the open tech ecosystem, is the transformation of the role and the position of the communities, and also of the composition of the communities. So we have been focusing a little more, because in general what you find is that often communities have a subordinate or even a marginal position in these ecosystems. And also in the roles that they play in the governance, you observe this evolution. So we wanted to have a global picture of this evolution and these characteristics. And that's it. I didn't, I thought about presenting some first insights, but at the end I decided not to do it, because we are still really beginning to discuss about this in our group, and so I would finish in this way. Thank you.